Good evening, everybody. Day 3 just ended. Started at 5, and it's, 8 o'clock. So, it ended, and I'm trying to find words. I apologize, there's kids running around outside. It is Orlando. And Disney World is around the corner, or Disneyland. So I've been trying to find words just to describe how the 3 meditations went today. Now keep in mind, we're doing minimum 6 hours of meditations a day. There's classes in between, lectures in between, activities, and there's other stuff going on. But collectively, the whole intense retreat training, advanced training, it literally starts at 5 a.m. and it doesn't end until 8 or 9 p.m. I had no idea meditation can feel so magical, so intense. I'm still shaking from just this last one was very intense, very intense. You know how they tell you in the middle of in meditation to find the source, find the nothingness, and the nothing frequency is so fast that it doesn't even move. That is why it is outside of space and time. And if you can connect to outside of space and time, you can manifest something immediately, very fast, because there's no space. You can't make anything happen in space without time, because you have to travel from me to my job, or me to me getting something, or buying something, or saving something, because there's distances everywhere. That space then creates time. If you're going to do anything, you go outside of space and time, everything's instant. And I was like, okay, that makes sense theoretically from quantum physics standpoint. But anyway, I'm glad, and it's important who you sit around, right? I was sitting with this family they're Americans, but they were originally, decades ago, they came from Venezuela. So it was mom and daughter. The daughter is a beautiful doctor from Boston. She traveled, convinced her mother. So that mother and daughter, great team. We had lunch together. We sat together all day. And during the time of communication before meditation, every few minutes, every minute, they have to stop and we have to look at each other and explain things to each other, so that if there's any confusion, it can be reduced, if not eliminated, before the meditations begin. So I'm blessed to have met them. I think my day 1 was with them too, and now day 3 was also with them. And of course, there's 2 gentlemen on my right side, and the family from Boston. The doctor from Boston was on my left. We were quite in the front today. First meditation, something wild happened. Something that has never happened to me. That we were supposed to, at the end of the meditation, this is the last 30 minutes of the meditation, focus on the 1st, 4th, and 6th energy center or chakra. The 1st is all the way at the bottom chakra, 4th is heart, and 6th is the pineal gland, right? And then there's 7 and 8. So we had to keep our focus on 1st, 4th, and 6th. And somehow, it just rushed so much energy to my pineal gland. There was such a huge load of emotion that I'm just tearing. I couldn't keep any emotions inside. It was crazy. Sorry, I'm burping. Gosh, if a man ever needed a drink. So, yesterday I spoke to two people that I was sitting with that I think, if with the breath work, you're supposed to push the spinal fluid up to your brain, which then puts the pressure onto the pineal gland because that's the end of your spinal cord, and as the spinal fluid is pushed up through certain exercises, meditation exercises, it can stimulate pineal gland. And then I thought, okay, if you're truly pushing the energy that is within fluids in your body, it would benefit greatly if you were hydrated. I didn't hear anyone talk about that. Nothing was happening yesterday. I chugged 3 bottles of water. I probably drank 2 liters of water last night, or 3 liters of water last night. Just at night, not during the day that I was drinking. And during the day, I have to control my drinking because last thing I need is, in the middle of a 2-hour, 2.5 hour, or 3-hour meditation, with 2-hour meditation maybe, and an hour of lecture, last thing I need is to be able to need to use the bathroom. That would ruin everything. So I'm just sipping very, very little throughout the day, and I was hydrated this morning, and it worked this morning. I just couldn't keep emotions in. It was ridiculous how intense it was. Second meditation, something similar happened, but then all of a sudden I crossed my legs like this as Maria and I were talking, and she was asking me, what did you do different from yesterday? And then when I crossed my legs, I was like, I just had a light bulb moment. I was like, I did not cross my legs yesterday or day one. I just had them like this. Hands separated, feet separated. I heard somewhere that if you cross your arms, both of your hemispheres now have to communicate with each other, and they start working together towards a convergent, focused goal. Let me just make sure that the recording is on. Yes, okay. Then, this was the first thing that I noticed, that I was crossing my legs, and when you cross your legs, hemispheres communicate with each other in more cohesive way. And I told him that, and her mom had the same experience. She saw her deceased husband. We talked about that a little bit. What a wonderful mother she is. She's funny. She has all these amazing ideas. She had this beautiful idea of vision creation from no time and space, and actually holding something in your hand figuratively that you can picture, how he envisioned Apple, right? And she had that idea of Steve Jobs. We laughed about it, and we had some jokes about that. So, great family. I had such a good time today with them. But going back to the different things I did, I was hydrated, I crossed my legs, and I don't know if it was second meditation or third meditation that I think we figured out that we can unhook the chairs that were right next to each other's. So we can separate them just an inch or two so that we're not literally touching each other during the meditation, because then of course in a meditation, if you just move a little bit, you're distracting somebody next to you, right? Or if you're touching someone, you don't have to move a lot to distract them. And they'll feel you move. And then if they're focusing on their energy centers or something else, it'll just bring them to you. So, but it didn't matter because we didn't do that the first meditation. I was right up against her shoulder. I was right up against this guy's shoulder, and it didn't matter. It just happened. Hydration, crossed legs, and of course, I walked into the ballroom with an intention that I really, really want it. I want it. I want to feel it. I want to feel the source. I want to know what's on the other end. If we're almost 100% empty space, based on the fact that we're made of atoms, and atoms are 99.9999% empty space, that means we only know 0.00001% of our existence. Most of the existence is invisible, which we never talk about. How do we not teach this in school? Anyway, that was the second meditation. First one, emotions overwhelmed me. Second, same thing happened. And the third one was wild. Wild. The reason I say that is because I actually felt nothing. And by nothing is I felt it. I went into nothing. Based on the information I got from the lecture prior to the meditation. That there are frequencies and energies, right? Different levels. There's the top frequency, which is truly not moving. You know, what did he call it? Planck's constant? That frequency is so fast that it doesn't even move because it's at everywhere all the time. That's why it's outside of space and time. So there's energies outside of space and time. They have so much energy they can create multiple universes, multiple infinities. Then there's one level below, right? That's still non-existent. It's called what? Blueprint. You can still do things within that, and that's not material. And then that's where the big bangs happen from, and then things come into the material world. So the nothing, the top part, outside of space and time, I was just imagining the universe, where there are itty-bitty part of the universe that is, you know, galaxies and whatever, even though we think it's a lot, but it's almost nothing compared to the empty space in the universe. So there's a little bit of thing that we call matter. And I imagined myself that if we didn't have electrons in our atoms repelling each other, nobody would be able to touch anyone. I wouldn't be able to touch my own hands. My hands would go right through. If the electrons weren't repelling each other, that's what it is. Electrons are repelling each other, right? And that's why I can touch my hands. If they didn't, and this is my non-scientist brain talking here, so if I'm wrong, somebody will correct me. So I could just go right through. It worked for my meditation anyway, even if it's false. So then I thought, there's this non-matter energy in the universe. And I have almost 100% of me is non-matter. So for a moment, I suspended the repulsion of my electrons. I just let the universe go right through me. So all of a sudden, I'm just this pixelated person. Most of me is just nothing. So that took me above matter to the blueprint level, I think. Yes, in my mind anyway. Where things can just go right through me. Galaxies can right through me, planets could go right through me. I am almost nothing. Now, the little bit of me, the pixelated me is left now, right? And then outside of this little bit of world that we can touch, the matter world, there's the outside world, the energy, frequency, and wavelength world. And outside of that, there's the nothing, non-vibrational states. And I'm picturing 3 different layers. The universe with matter, the universe with waves and frequencies just a little bit above the matter, and then this empty, vast, still place that just goes on and on and on and on forever, and it's all surrounding these 2 layers of the planet, of the matter and the energy and wavelength outside of that. So these 2 little, this circle, so circle number 2, and then there's this giant nothingness that goes not only all around them, but the stillness goes right through them as well, because most of that space is also nothing with stillness, with non-vibrational stillness. And when I went from the matter to thinking I'm pixelated and my electrons are not repelling one another, I went to the second bubble, and then I just felt myself popping out of the second balloon into the nothing, the non-vibrational stillness. And I just did that, and I just felt immediate just rush of vibration, and just I started shaking. I was, I don't know if I was literally shaking, but I just felt this vibration just all around me, and like something was about to happen. And my head was like, I just felt my head moving up and down. I was like, okay, if somebody's watching me, they're gonna be like, what is he saying yes to? What is he? I mean, nobody was watching. Everybody had their eyes blocked. And I was feeling that, and then it sort of went away because I was like, oh, if somebody's looking at me, that's gonna look funny. And then I just got back out of it, and then I was trying to pull myself back into it because my imagination, I was already there, right? The movie was already playing. I was already in there. And then I couldn't go back exactly in there, but the next part of the meditation was then to picture something, some intention that you would like to have in your future, something like that. And then you just and then you bring that, you picture it from that space of stillness. If you can't do that from the space of stillness, at least do it from the second bubble, space of vibration and wave energy. And that's when you will start to put focus onto your energy centers or chakras, or there's another word for it, just blessing your energy centers. How do you bless them? You put your focus on it. Where you put your focus, you put your energy. So, number one part of my meditation, my mind just exploded because I found nothing. I went into nothing. And when I went into nothing, I'm never going to be able to describe what I experienced when I was in there. But it felt like I was everywhere. Yeah. Buildings here, ocean there, under the ocean, into the sky, moon, I was everywhere. It just felt so wild. Now keep in mind, guys, this is not ayahuasca. All I had was coffee and water. So this is your body. We don't know how powerful we are, how vast the truth is, the truth of everything. I can't even say universe anymore because Dr. Joe Dispenza says there are infinite infinities. Okay. We can't comprehend that with our senses. We have to be able to touch the outside of our senses in a way where the truth is shown to you, felt by you. Language is a very poor way to communicate in the realm of vast truth and knowledge. I know I'm doing a very poor job describing it, but that's the best I can do, and I think I'm still describing it a little bit accurately than most people that I've studied so far. And I'm not talking about the geniuses, I'm talking about most of the people talking on the internet describing. I'm not talking about Dr. Joe Dispenza. He is an unbelievable teacher. First of all, he's really funny. So it's impossible for you to get tired, yawn. He could just talk for 8 hours and you will not fall asleep. You might yawn after 8 hours of it, but you will be laughing. You will never get bored. And if you doze off for 5 seconds, you will regret dozing off for 5 seconds, because he has so much information to give to people in such a beautiful way that if you miss 5 seconds, you're like, gosh, I wish I could tell him, please, can you just go back 5 seconds? Can you just tell me what that thing was you just said? Because it was so beautiful, it was so profound. It connected with me. as if I knew it, and I just rediscovered myself through you. This is becoming my dear diary, isn't it? Guys, I think I broke through. I broke through. Shout out to Maria and her mommy. If you're watching, Maria. Hello. This was amazing. So that's how it ended. Wildness when I was sitting, when I felt the nothingness, and then when I laid down, all of a sudden I just got that rush of emotion. Again, from focusing on chakra 1, 4, and 6. And it only happened in the beginning when I laid down. I think it happened within the first 10 minutes. And after that, it just went away. I lost it. Because I'm still conditioning my body. This is still new for my body, right? As much as I know the information, your body that information now needs to go from your mind and brain to your body, right? So our bodies, our chakras have their own minds, their own information. The information needs to not only be transferred, but those chakras need to balance that information across those sections of the bodies. Store it in there. Make it a habit, habitual. Tomorrow we're going to be doing walking meditations. We might lay down on the grass afterwards. We might do a whole bunch of other things. This is a very intense, advanced meditation retreat. It is nuts. Nuts feels like wrong thing to say, but it's so profound. It's so life-changing. And it's just day 3. We got 4 more days to go. Who knows what's going to happen next? The difference between day 2 and day 3 was world of a difference. It's like I saw something today, or I felt something today I've never felt. I saw something today I didn't even know existed. I felt something I didn't even know that feeling ever existed. You see, I'm just constantly mind blown. Beautiful. Beautiful. Cheers, guys. I am really tired. I need to drink some water and get some rest. Good night, beloveds.